Shalom, Mishpaka. I just wanted to talk about one valuable, important thing that we should never, ever forget. No matter what you may go through, no matter the things that you may be suffering with that you don't even talk about, Yahuwah's grace is sufficient. His grace is enough. And no matter, sometimes you go through things that you don't understand. Sometimes you have to endure certain things. But His grace is sufficient. And we have to stand in that. During every test and trial and affliction, His grace is sufficient. So I wanted to read 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7 to 10. And it says, "And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there is given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought El Yahuwah thrice, that it might depart from me. And He said unto me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Mashiach may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities and reproaches, in necessities and persecutions, and distresses, for Mashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong." Hallelujah. And that is Paul, which we know as Shaul, letting us know that he had such a divine revelation in the word. But he said, I couldn't boast of it myself. So there was an affliction in his flesh that he petitioned the Most High to take away 3 times. And the Most High said, my grace is sufficient for you. So in his fleshly weakness was he made strong in Hamashiach. And that's why he says he takes pleasure in his infirmities, because he knows that all that he does isn't of himself, but it's in Hamashiach. So no matter what you may be going through, know that Yahuwah's grace is sufficient. So whether you are persecuted, whether you have infirmities or reproaches, His grace is sufficient. And sometimes we endure things so we don't get puffed up in our flesh. But we know we have to be on our face, because we are nothing without Yahuwah. His grace is what makes us strong. When we are weak in our flesh, He can shine strong in us, because it's not of ourselves. It's only of Hamashiach. And I'm going to go to James chapter 4. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So it's James chapter 4, starting at the 6th verse. It says, "But he gives more grace. Wherefore he says, Elohim resists the proud, but gives grace unto the humble. Submit yourselves therefore to Elohim, or Yahuwah. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw nigh to Yahuwah, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness. Humble yourselves in the sight of Yahuwah, and he shall lift you up." So we need to draw nigh to Yahuwah, and he will draw nigh to us. And we need to humble ourselves before Yahuwah. That's who he gives his grace to. We have nothing to boast about. We have nothing to be proud about of ourselves. It's only in Yahuwah. And we need to sometimes afflict our souls and mourn and take heed to how serious our salvation is. And seek Yahweh with everything. Because it's only by his grace that we overcome. It's only by his grace that's sufficient. It's nothing of our own flesh, of our own selves. We have to purify our hearts and weep. And that is when he will lift us up. When we humble ourselves and pray and seek his face. That's when he'll lift us up. So no matter what you're going through, no matter what it may look like, know that when you pursue after the righteousness of Yah, his grace is sufficient. Don't give up. Stay steadfast. Stay unmovable. Trust in him. Humble yourself before him. Afflict your soul before him. And let him lift you up. So stay encouraged, Miss Baka. And I just want y'all to know, with Yahuwah, you are never alone. With that, I'll say until we meet again, Shalom.